Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा तदायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतां सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Shri Shakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Hare Krishna everyone, so thank you so much for coming this morning. Yesterday we talked about how Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate truth and how Rupa Goswami establishes that. And in the course of that conversation, we talked about the most evolved theology in the world and how the most evolved theology is the most beautiful, the most mind-blowing. So I'm going to try to show you today how amazing Rupa Goswami's writings are. This is just like, in English they say, the tip of the iceberg. But it will give you an understanding of how brilliant these writers were. But before we do that, I'll just summarize a little bit of what we talked about yesterday, and then I'll show you some of Rupa Goswami's incredible writings. So the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, as you know, they were the ones who established the movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he traveled, he chanted, he danced, he sent everyone into ecstasy, but he never really created a movement. He left that to the Goswamis. So the Goswamis, they were known as masterminds of bhakti. They were masterminds firstly because they had mastered their own mind. That's what Goswami means, one who has mastered their mind. But they were also masterminds because they knew the mind of their master. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. They knew the mind. Rupa Goswami knew what is in the mind of his master, and therefore he dedicated his life to it. Therefore they were also masterminds because they knew the mind of their master. They were also masterminds because they knew how to masterfully reach the mind of every living entity. They knew how to teach people, how to inspire people, and how to awaken Krishna Prem within others. And therefore Rupa Goswami writes all these incredible books like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which teach us how we can change our mind and bring our mind back to Krishna. And they were masterminds because they were practically geniuses in everything. You know, some people are good at one thing, but they're terrible at something else. Great Kirtaniya, terrible manager. Great manager, but can't really preach. Or great pujari, but, you know, not so good at, you know, dealing with other people. But the Goswamis, they were expert, they were masterminds at everything. They were writers, they were managers, they were pujaris, they were spiritual leaders, they were everyone's friend. They were just able to do everything. Srila Prabhupada was the same, he could do everything. He said, in the morning I give the Bhagavatam class, and in the afternoon I go to the bank. In other words, I can do the practical things, I can do the spiritual things, I can do the relational things, I can do everything. So the Goswamis were like that. They were expert in everything. So yesterday we talked about tattva and how tattva is so important because in the world is full of lies. It's said that in Kali Yuga, there's only one quality which is remaining, isn't it? Society is based on 4 pillars. What are those pillars? Mercy, truthfulness, cleanliness, and austerity. And it's said that in Kali Yuga, there's only one pillar which is remaining. Which one is that?
Truthfulness.
Truthfulness. Now look around in Kali Yuga. Does it look like a very truthful place to you?
No.
Do you believe what the media say?
No.
Do you believe what politicians say?
No.
Do you believe what your mind says?
No.
So in what sense is there truthfulness in Kali Yuga? Why is Kali Yuga still standing on truthfulness? It doesn't seem as though there's much truth in the world. So what's the answer? In what sense can we say that society is resting on truthfulness when it doesn't look like a very truthful society out there?
Still we have faith in Krishna, we are praying.
Because we have access to Shastra.
Yeah.
Because we have access to tattva. Yes, there may be so many lies in the world, but the scriptures are there. And therefore, even the Bhagavatam says, Krishna swadham upagate dharma jnana dibi saha kalonasta drisham esha puranarko dhuno dhita. Krishna swadham, when Krishna leaves this world and goes back to his own abode, Dharma, Jnana, Divi Saha. Knowledge and devotion go with Krishna. Then anything, what's the point of Krishna coming? Krishna says, I come to this world to establish Dharma. But then when Krishna goes back to his abode, Dharma leaves. So what was the point of Krishna coming? There was a point. Because Kalau Nasta Drisham Esha. Kali Yuga then becomes plunged into darkness when Krishna leaves. The day Krishna leaves is the day Kali Yuga begins. But in the darkness of Kali Yuga, Purar Narko Dhuno Dhita, you can get light if you read the scripture, if you read the Puranas, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, yesterday we talked about this, that Jiva Goswami establishes that Srimad Bhagavatam is the place from which to get all knowledge. What's the first thing he establishes? There's 3 ways to get knowledge, right? What are they called in Sanskrit? Pratyaksha, Anuman, Shabda. So he establishes that you have to hear from someone. Then what's the next thing he establishes? That you have to hear from a non-material authority. And then he says amongst that non-material authority, the Vedas is foremost, and in the Vedas there are many scriptures, but the Puranas are foremost. Amongst all the Puranas, the Sattvika Puranas are the foremost, and amongst the Sattvika Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam is the foremost. So we talked about this yesterday, so I won't go through it again. So this is very, very important. Scripture is so important. This is why Srila Prabhupada put so much emphasis on book distribution. Because if people access this knowledge, then they can access the truth which can remove all the lies. One time Srila Prabhupada, he was with Dhananjaya Prabhu, and he said, it's too late. So Dhananjaya Prabhu didn't understand what he meant. Prabhupada said, it's too late. Prabhupada said, even if tomorrow all of the temples close down, even if tomorrow everyone leaves the Hare Krishna movement, even if tomorrow ISKCON folds completely, Prabhupada said, it's too late. He said, because what will happen is that all the books are out there. And someone somewhere will pick up the book. They'll get convinced and they'll start the whole thing again. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, distribute the books, put the tattva out there, because there's too many lies in the world. I often tell this to people. If someone says a lie loud enough and long enough, then what does that lie become? A truth. And if enough people accept that so-called truth, then what does that truth become? A culture. And if that culture perpetuates from one generation to the next, what does it become?
Religion.
A tradition.
Yeah,
And then what happens is people are born into a tradition which is based on a so-called culture, which is based on a so-called truth, that's actually a
lie.
And people base their whole life around this tradition that they're brought up in, which is actually based on lies. So whether you know it or not, when you were growing up, when all of us were growing up, we were told all of these lies about life. And most people have no idea that these are lies. But only those people that access Shastra, only those people that understand Tattva, they are able to understand, no, the world told me this is true. The world told me this will bring me happiness. The world told me this is success, but actually it's a lie. And therefore, the scripture is so important because it uncovers all of these lies. I won't go into everything here. So here, just as I was mentioning, Kali Yuga is based on truthfulness because the scriptures are there. Therefore, these are the Goswamis And what they did is they wrote many, many books. I was explaining yesterday that Jiva Goswami was one of the most prolific authors. But all of the Goswamis, they wrote many, many different types of books. They wrote books on philosophy. So for example, yesterday I mentioned Jiva Goswami writes the Satsandarbhas, which is the systematic philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. But they also wrote commentaries. For example, Sanatana Goswami writes about Krishna's pastimes in a book called Vaishnava Doshani. Or Jiva Goswami writes about Krishna's pastimes in a book called Gopal Champu. And what they begin to reveal is things that are happening in Krishna's pastimes that you don't even read about in the Bhagavatam. You think, how do they know what Krishna is saying to Srimati Radharani? Jiva Goswami is writing in his commentary hidden conversations between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. You think, how does he know what they're saying? He wasn't there. But the point is, he is there. Because Krishna's pastimes are eternally being enacted within the hearts of the devotees. And therefore, they can actually visualize everything that is going on in the spiritual world. They're actually witnessing it within their own hearts. And therefore they write commentaries on Krishna's pastimes and give us extra details about everything that's happening. The Goswamis also write what we call Rasa Shastra. Everyone in the world is trying to experience Rasa. Rasa means a taste. Rasa means an experience, a mellow. Rasa means relationship. Therefore, everyone in the world is trying to taste rasa, but they're trying to taste rasa in the wrong place. And therefore, the Goswamis, they write books explaining to us where we can actually get rasa from. They also write manuals and guidebooks. For example, Jiva Goswami writes a book, Harinam Amrita Vyakarana, in which he explains how to learn Sanskrit, grammar, and all the entire Sanskrit language. But just by reading the book, you also learn the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness at the same time. So they write manuals, they write guidebooks. They also write poetry, and they write songs. For example, Raghunath Das Goswami, he writes a whole book in poetic format just about one of Krishna's pastimes. So for example, he writes a book, Mukta Charita. And in this book, it's a whole book which is about one pastime of Krishna, where one day Krishna planted pearls in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and those pearls came out into trees of pearls. So he writes a whole book in poetry about that pastime. And then they write pastimes and stories and other things. So here you can see this is Jiva Goswami's writing. Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Jiva Goswami, his writing, his handwriting was like rows of pearls. So this is, they were just writing on palm leaves. If you make a mistake, you can't cross it out. It has to be perfect. Jiva Goswami is said in the Bhakti Ratnakar, you know how much of a genius writer he was? He would write on the palm leaf, and he would write so fast because his stream of thought was so fast. So he would write down on the front of the palm leaf. But then when he wanted to carry on the thought, he had to turn the palm leaf over to carry on, but the ink was still wet. But his mind, so many ideas were coming. So you know how Jiva Goswami would write? He would write page 1, then he would write page number 3. And by the time he wrote page number 3, page number 1 was dry, so he turned it around and then he wrote page number 2. This is how much of a genius writer he was. So Jiva Goswami, we can't understand how amazing these writers are. So yesterday I was explaining that what they revealed to the world was the most advanced theology in the world. And yesterday I was explaining that the most advanced theology is the most beautiful. It's the most mind-blowing. So I'm going to show you something today. Have any of you heard of Chitra Kavitvani? Okay. I only mentioned this. So you haven't. So Chitra means a picture. But Chitra also means something amazing. So there's a book that Rupa Goswami wrote called Stava Mala. There are different Sanskrit words for prayers. So Stava is Stuti, Stava, like these are different words for prayers. So he writes a book called Stava Mala, which is a book of different prayers. But the first, I think 12 verses of the Stava Mala are called Chitra Kavitvani. And what Rupa Goswami does is in a very, very beautiful way, in a very, very poetic, artistic way, he reveals the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So you want to see some of those verses?
Yes.
Okay. So the first verse is that Rupa Goswami is known as Rasacharya, because he's the teacher who taught us how to experience rasa. So Rupa Goswami wanted to write a verse about rasa. So in the Chitra Kavitvani, he writes a verse about rasa. But you know the amazing thing is in the verse where he wants to talk about rasa, he only uses 2 consonants. Ra, sa. So he writes a whole verse about rasa and he only uses 2 consonants. Ra, sa. You want to see? Rasa sara susarorur asurare sasarasa samsasara sirasurase suriram susasarasa. He only uses two consonants, ra, sa, to make a whole verse about rasa, about Krishna's rasa dance. Filled with transcendental amorous desire, the son of Nanda, who showers forth nectar, whose thighs are strong, who is the enemy of the demons, and who is the sword that cuts down the cycle of repeated birth and death, entered the rasa dance, holding a lotus flower. Isn't this amazing? He writes a verse about the rasa dance, number 1. Even that requires some intelligence. Number 2, he writes it only using those consonants. And number 3, the way that it's composed rhymes perfectly. And number 4, the translation is such a deep philosophical insight into what's going on. How is this possible? Anyone want to try? Recite this? Go on, give it a try.
Yeah. Rasa sara susaro asurahi sasara sa samsara asiryasa srase surin samo sasara sa.
Even to recite it is difficult. Let us speak about composing it. Okay, I'll show you another verse. Rupa Goswami wants to write about how Krishna is a thief. Krishna is a thief, right? He steals the clothes of the gopis, he steals the butter, he steals the mind of all the devotees. So what is the Sanskrit word for a thief? Chor. So he writes a whole verse about how Krishna is a thief and he only uses 2 consonants.
No, just see.
Char choru rochiru chora ruchiro ram chacharache chora charo chirachiram ruchacharu rachucharat. Acting like a thief, the broad-chested son of Nanda, the most handsome person in the world, quickly stole the gopis' garments. He was attractive because of his splendor, and his beauty was enhanced by the sandal paste adorning him. This requires some transcendental intelligence. But now, I'll show you something even more. Brahma stole the cowherd boys and the calves, isn't it? And then he was humbled by Krishna, because Krishna expanded as all of those calves and cowherd boys. Then later on, Brahma, he came to offer prayers of forgiveness to Krishna. So there are many, many prayers in the Bhagavatam, but Rupa Goswami writes his own realization of Brahma offering a prayer to Krishna for forgiveness. But the most amazing thing is, in this verse, he doesn't use two consonants. He only uses one consonant. You want to see? Nino nano nanam nonam nano 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 nuni nane nanam nanon nanam nano nana nano nanu. Go on, Sundar, give it a try.
Nino nano nanam nonam nano nana nano nuni nane nano nanum nanam nano nano nano.
Did not the many-headed Lord Brahma, who impels the various demigods, offer prayers with tears streaming down his face, trying to pacify Lord Krishna, the killer of Shakatasura? It's amazing. This is the brilliance of the Goswamis. They're not able to just reveal deep philosophical points. They're not able to just do it in poetry, but they do it in a type of poetry which no one has ever seen before. I'll show you another one. Now you may look at this and immediately it doesn't appear to you what's so brilliant about this, but I'll recite it. Gandha Krishna Gurun Madali Vinavane Hara Prabhati Plutam Sampushnantam Upashkrita Dhvaniyami Vichi Shriyo Ranjakam Sadyastungita Vibramam Sunibrite Sitanile Sokyade Devam Nagabhujam Sadara Samayam Tam Naumikam Chinmude. In a secluded forest which attracts swarms of maddened bees with its fragrance, which contains many decorated paths, and which gives pleasure with its cool breezes, I always glorify a certain Lord in order to attain spiritual bliss. That rasa-laden Lord, the maintainer of his devotees, is flooded with the splendor of many necklaces. His arms are like snakes. He immediately increases the agitation within his heart, and he tinges the luster of Yamuna's waves with the luster of his nails, lips, necklaces, bracelets, and crowns. Very poetic. But do you want to see why this is so amazing? Because this verse is actually in a wheel formation. What does that mean? See this? The first line of the verse starts right at the top and it goes all the way around. Okay? Then the second line of the verse goes from top to bottom. The third line of the verse goes from left to right. And the fourth line goes up from left to right. And it perfectly intersects. How do you do that? The syllables perfectly meet each other. Not only do they meet each other, it means something. not only does it mean something, it's revealing the most transcendental reality. But there's something even more. Later on, when they studied this, they revealed, they were able to detect that Rupa Goswami also did something secret within this. You know, when someone draws a picture, then what they will do is they'll put their signature. So what Rupa Goswami also does within this formation is he writes a hidden signature. And the hidden signature is this: Krishna Stuti Raso Rupa Virachita. This prayer to Krishna was composed by Rupa. Can you see? Not only does this verse fit together perfectly, all the syllables meet, but then what there is there's actually a hidden signature in there saying that this prayer was composed by Rupa Goswami. And it all fits perfectly. This is Chitra Kavitwani. It's completely mind-blowing. I'll show you more. Look at this verse and tell me what you can see is amazing about this verse.
Palindrome. Palindrome from here and here.
The second line is the reverse of the first line. Ta, ta, yi, sa, sa. Can you see?
Yes, yes. Reverse.
The second line mirrors the first line perfectly. Tai sara dhara dhara bhayata madarahiha hari damataya bhati radha radha rasayita. The presiding deity of the rasa dance with the gopis appears splendid, being adorned with a charming garland. His beauty is enhanced by his holding of Govardhan Hill, which is increasing in size due to the great ecstasy it feels from his touch. That handsome deity, the killer of his arrogant enemies, relished the sweet rasa from Radha's worship. Sometimes the acharyas, what they do is they write a book, and if you read it forward, it tells you Krishna's pastimes. And if you read it backwards, it will tell you Ram's pastimes. How is it possible? This transcendental intelligence. Therefore, we can understand these were very, very empowered individuals. Dual direction. Many verses are there like this. Here's another one. Have you ever seen a cow urinate?
Yeah.
Yes. When the urine goes down, then the urine trickles, isn't it? Like this. So therefore, Rupa Goswami also writes a verse in a cow urine formation. Samala rangira mesta fulasara mudetita Shramani radhara tushta balavira sadevata. Why is this cow urine formation? Because every second syllable of the first line and the second line matches each other. Therefore it's like this. See? Samale rangera mesta fulasara mudetita Shramani radhara tushta balavi rasa devata. Don't try this at home. You drive yourself mad trying to create this kind of... This is amazing. And it means something. It means something so deep. I'll show you one final one. Time is going. Sarvato Bhadra. Bhadra means auspicious. Sarvato means, so Sarva means all. Sarvato Bhadra means this is auspicious in all directions. Why? Looks like a pretty normal verse. Rasavaha havasara salala sasalalasa balarama maralava hasamada damasaha. Well, seems pretty standard, nice verse. What's so special about it?
That's also.
Because this verse, you can read it in all directions. If you read it from left to right, left to right, left to right, all the way down, then the verse comes. If you read it from up to down, and then left to right, the verse comes. The verse can be read in any direction. Did you even know the verse can be read backwards? You can read it from right to left also. You can read it left to right, down. You can read it right to left, down. You can read it up to down, left to right. And you can read it down to up, left to right. You can even read it down to up, right to left. And you can even read it up to down, right to left. Because Sarvato Bhadra is auspicious in all directions. Dear friends, these are the masterminds of bhakti. These are not ordinary personalities. They were able to reveal the most profound knowledge in the most beautiful way. And therefore, this can only be done through empowerment, no other way. And how were they empowered? Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered them with all understanding, with all knowledge, because they were humble, because they had no ego, no pride, no envy, no arrogance, because they had no other desire save and except to serve and help others, because they had no other agenda than to bring others to Krishna. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered them in the most incredible ways. And therefore, sometimes when we just take some time to look at all of these things and understand, then we realize, my God, we are connected. By some inconceivable fortune, we're connected to the most incredible personalities in existence. Because these Goswamis, they were the most amazing personalities in the universe. And therefore, today, I just wanted to share some of that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So there's more verses, but anyway, time is gone. So we have some minutes. Does anyone have any questions? Or yes.
Maharaj, who deciphered this? Are there like more commentaries or on
Yeah.
Chitrakavitvani and who was able to
This is
decipher?
Baladev Vidyabhusan. Actually, what Baladev Vidyabhusan did is he looked at many of these verses and then he actually decoded. It's one thing to write it, but it takes another mastermind to unravel the whole thing. Like for example, this secret signature. Like you have to also be like a mastermind to figure it out, to even detect something like that. Because Rupa Goswami also doesn't say like, this is the verse I wrote, by the way, here are all the footnotes, and here is the... He doesn't, they're humble. They just write out of empowerment of their heart. But then another great soul comes and shows. So yes, Baladev Vidyabhusan was the person who actually came and revealed many of these things.
Whereas, like, how we can, for us, we are, how to approach this Shastra and read and understand, like, tiny small things and go, it's very difficult to understand. So, how approach these Shastras?
Therefore, Krishna says in the Gita, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. If you want to understand tattva, then you have to approach the tattvadarshi, one who has understood. So first thing is, you can never learn Shastra alone. Jaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavedastane. If you want to understand Bhagavatam, you have to hear from someone who has dedicated their life to Bhagavatam. So first thing is, you can't understand Shastra yourself. Shastra must be understood from someone who's a Tattvadarshi. But then the mood is very, very important. Pranipat means one has to be very, very humble. Pariprashna, one has to be very, very inquisitive and desirous to know. And Sevaya, one has to also serve the Shastra. One has to be trying to gain that knowledge so that they can increase their service to the world, increase their service to the living entities, increase their service to Krishna. So when one approaches Shastra with a very, very humble heart, with a very, very enthusiastic mentality to know, to learn, and when one approaches with the idea that I'm getting this knowledge not to control, not to exploit, not to enjoy, but to actually utilize this knowledge to serve, then with these qualities one can actually understand Shastra. So the mood is very, very important. Scripture is not understood simply in an intellectual way. Scripture is understood in the heart of someone who has these qualities of humility, of service attitude, of sincere desire and enthusiasm to really understand Krishna. Otherwise, you can study Shastra, you can hear classes for Bahujanma, so many lifetimes, and still you will not understand. Therefore, mood is very important.
Thank
you, Maharaj, for the session. Maharaj, as you said in these days, even in previous lectures, that our mood and our behavior and mindset is really important, be it living in this world or studying the Shastra. So, that being really important, how can we develop them in our day-to-day life? Obviously, with devoted session we can, but we won't be able to get devoted session all the time, like this. So we also have to deal with others, which is fine. We can have the right mindset, but how to have those qualities, because we are fighting with our anarthas as well. So we have so less kind of time in this life. So I was thinking how to do it.
So how do you develop the good Vaishnava qualities? The first thing is, that's why we always absorb ourselves in hearing about the great souls. If someone has good qualities and you meditate on them, not in a spirit of envy, but in a spirit of appreciation, then it's said that simply by meditating on someone who has good qualities with deep appreciation, you actually begin to absorb some of their qualities. So therefore, hearing about the great devotees, glorifying the great devotees, what happens is that you are actually associating with them, and their character, their qualities immediately begin to start manifesting in your own character. Because whatever you meditate on, that has an effect. So therefore, the first thing we do is we always try to hear about the great devotees. We try to hear about how humble they were, how non-envious they were, constantly hearing. And when we appreciate that more and more, then those qualities will start to arise. And the second thing you said, yes, association. Association with devotees who have these qualities and observing them and serving them. Then the third thing is that, again, don't think that being around non-devotees is going to take you away from Vaishnava qualities. In fact, sometimes being around non-devotees gives you a wonderful opportunity to develop your Vaishnava qualities. You have to develop tolerance. You have to develop compassion. You have to develop non-enviousness. You have to develop patience. So sometimes you can see that when I'm in environments where people are not Krishna conscious, then it's a great opportunity for me to exercise my inner muscles of becoming tolerant, becoming humble, becoming patient. So don't see the non-devotees. They can also help you to become a Vaishnava in a very unique way. So it's not that we should always see that the non-devotees are the demons, they're going to cause me to fall down, they're going to be the cause of my doom. No. By serving them, by trying to inspire them, you actually grow in your own devotion. Okay? Yes.
Maharaj, in the context of when you were in satsang and the association devotees, you have some kind of aware of yes, I will do that. But once you leave the place, you have to go through the to-do list for the materialistic thing, and you forget every single thing. How to maintain that level of enthusiasm to being devoted to Krishna consciousness in your day-to-day life?
See, yesterday I was making the point that try not to compartmentalize your life. Now I'm in the temple, this is my Krishna conscious time, now I have to go out and do all these material things and I just can't wait to get back to the temple so I can be spiritual. No. Krishna says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pasyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Try to begin bringing Krishna conscious, Krishna into every aspect of your life. Change your passwords to Krishna's names. Then we'll hack into your account. Krishna will wait. Change the pictures in your house to pictures of Krishna. When you're driving in the car, put a kirtan on, put a lecture on. When you're at work, try to bring Krishna into the conversations. When you go to meet someone, carry some prasad with you and give that out to people. In other words, bring more and more Krishna into your life. Yena tena prakarena mana Krishna niveshaye. This way or that way, somehow or other, create opportunities in your life to always remember Krishna. Therefore, don't think of your spiritual life as just what you do at the temple or what you do in your time of sadhana. Try to make every aspect of your life spiritual. It's possible. You just have to build that Krishna conscious life. So, that's what we have to do. Does that help? Thank you. Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much for coming to Dublin. Maharaj, what instructions would you like to give to Hare Krishna, Dublin Hare Krishna community?
Instruction. No instruction. But I can share a reflection. by the sacrifice of all the devotees who have preached here for so many years and who have been dedicated and who have performed so many austerities to establish Srila Prabhupada's mission here in Dublin. Actually, you have an incredible opportunity. Here you are in this building, it's like Soho Street all over again. You got the most busiest street right here. You got a whole city of people. I find Irish people very open actually, very friendly, more than Londoners. Very open. Young people, there's a huge university here, cosmopolitan, and you're right here. You have a restaurant, so many people will be attracted to come. It's a non-threatening way to introduce people. So actually I have an incredible base for preaching. I can't think of many places in the world which have this kind of opportunity. I also feel like, sometimes as an outsider coming in, I can maybe see things that maybe you may not see because you're always here. But what I do see amongst your community is an incredible friendship, incredible energy amongst all of you. You're just joyful, you're friendly with each other, you actually like each other. And that's actually the most beautiful thing, because everyone is actually looking for friendship, everyone is looking for community. So if you continue in that spirit of just being very, very friendly, very, very kind with each other and developing such a warm family, so many people will want to come just because of that. One thing we have to work on, not just in Dublin but all around, is we have to work on making Krishna consciousness relevant for people from all backgrounds. Srila Prabhupada's speciality was that he came and he made Krishna consciousness accessible to people who knew about the culture and to people who knew nothing about the culture. So our temples, our programs, our presentation of Krishna consciousness should be inspiring and should be something that interests people from all backgrounds. And so we should think deeply about that. How can we create our temple, how can we create our programs in such a way that everyone will be interested to come? Because Srila Prabhupada built a house in which the whole world can live. And so we have to make our house here inviting and understandable to people from all backgrounds. So I would say that's definitely something we can work on. Otherwise, So we were hearing that potentially in the future you may have some land just outside of Dublin. We're praying that happens. That would be incredible. That would be such a beautiful offering. Just like you have the Manor and you have Soho. So you'll have this place and then you'll have a beautiful place somewhere else where there's more space, there's more room, people can be trained in Krishna consciousness, that community. So if you're in Dublin and you ended up here, it's not by chance. Don't think that you just ended up here by some random decision that you made. No, Krishna is in your heart. Krishna guided you here to Dublin, number one, because it was good for you. It was good for your spiritual life to be here. And number two, Krishna guided you here to Dublin because it's an opportunity for you to serve. So if you can stay in Dublin, no need to go back anywhere else. Stay here, develop Krishna consciousness, develop this part of Srila Prabhupada's movement. We are very small, but by Srila Prabhupada's unlimited grace, we get the opportunity to say, there's a small part of Prabhupada's movement, and I'm going to try and take care of that. And so take it as your responsibility. Sometimes we always think someone else will do it. And I'll help out, but someone else will do it. No. Take it as your responsibility. I'm going to take some part of Prabhupada's movement and I'm going to take responsibility for it. And I'm going to try and make it what it can and should be. And so, take it. Take doubling. It's not one person's duty. It's everyone's duty. And all of you, if you take it, you have such a wonderful energy amongst yourselves. You can spread Krishna consciousness faster than you can imagine by Srila Prabhupada's grace. So yeah, I would say it's a great opportunity and we're very, very fortunate. I don't know, Manu Prabhu, if you want to add anything just to finish off. Manu Prabhu is our stalwart here based on so many of his sacrifices and commitment and just such a non-envious Vaishnava. It's very rare. And I think we're all fortunate to have Manu Prabhu here and we're here because of your sacrifices and the devotees of your generation. So thank you and please guide us. What can we do to serve?
Just keep coming here. That's a great opportunity because I just feel that one thing that I just constantly try to find somewhere, and is examples of humility, and because you just explained it there, that seems to be that currency which attracts the great souls like Rupa Goswami, all those coming from Lord Chaitanya. So I'm really happy that you came. that would be our guiding principle, so we can wrap it and allow more and more people to become, to participate. And I think that's a very nice formula that you're presenting there with the Bhakti school, that it's very clear and systematic, and it's great to be able to present that. So I think we have some amazing devotees here, and intelligent, amazing devotees who could definitely take this up and actually spread it far and wide. Trinity College is just down the road, you know what I mean? So all the so-called intelligentsia of Ireland are supposed to be there, or UCD or some of the other colleges. It would be just amazing if we could introduce that there and actually change some of these people who are so stuck in the material energy and so completely, just to change some of their hearts. That would be incredible. I definitely feel that we have that.
Thank you for coming back. Please come again.
Alright, thank you everyone. It's been an honor to be with you. I hope to be again with you soon. And I guess we have Harinam later on. Apparently there's a storm alert. Right? Let's see what happens. They warned us from British Airways that the flight may not go this evening because of the storm. Let's see what happens.
Maybe tomorrow as well.
Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
I have a question.
Okay.
One more question we can say.
So sorry. So, Maharaj, I have a question. Is like devotees sometimes, like me, we get discriminated thoughts. It could be because of discrimination between the days. For example, it's a festival day, so I'll go to temple early in the morning. Or some Maharajas comes, I'll go in the morning, but other days, we don't get, I'm not able to get that. And the other discrimination is between devotees. He's a different in devotees as well as he's a new devotee, he's a very old devotee. The next level up is like we then start comparing or discriminating among managers. Like for example, if there's temple, some important people, if we even compare them, and wherever we are coming from, we compare them from that place. Like over there the manager was like that, over there the person was like that. Here it's different. We are not able to accept that. So it's a whole. And then the fifth is like sometimes sometimes discrimination comes with like among Maharaj as well. Like different Maharaj, like we start comparing them, and sometimes we show different respect to some person, some Maharaj, and we don't have the same service attitude to the other. It could be because of it's Maya, of course, but even we are not so fortunate to have such kind of a memory, but it comes and it's an offense. I don't know, I'm just asking. So how do we deal with so many discrimination, because it all pops out?
One Srila Prabhupada, he said to one disciple, my mystic ability was that I brought the whole spiritual world into the material world by creating these temples. He said, your mystic ability is you've brought the material world back into that spiritual world. So what we do is we bring back our material mentalities, we compare, we criticize. The first problem with comparison is that everyone is different, and that difference is beautiful. In the spiritual world, everyone is different. Everyone has a different personality, and Krishna enjoys that rasa with different individuals. So every single person, every single devotee, every single Swami, every single preacher, they have their own personality. They express Krishna consciousness in their own way, and they please Krishna through their own unique personality. And so a devotee should become saragrahi. Saragrahi means we grasp the essence. We try to see, yes, this devotee has a different personality to me, but can I see the heart? Can I see their enthusiasm? Can I see their inspiration? Let me not just judge them on the externals, but let me try to see the deeper heart behind each devotee. Yeah, I don't like the way that devotee sings. They sing tunes I can never follow. But can I see their enthusiasm when they sing? Can I see their devotion? Can I see how they're trying to offer their heart to Krishna? Maybe I can become more impressed about that than the tune. So what we have to try to see is the heart of the devotee. Yes, there are different managers. They manage in different ways. We always have a tendency to think that the past or what we were doing before was better. But when we were in the past and when we were doing those things, we didn't think it was actually that good. But our mind always tells us, oh, that was much better. It was always good. It will never be like that again. But tomorrow, if you would go back to that time, if you would be surrounded by those people, you'd probably find issues in those people at that time anyway. So therefore, Prabhupada said there's no good old days in Krishna consciousness. There's only good days. You have the opportunity to see beauty in the here and now. So try to focus on that. And yes, we are in a temple. Everyone's so different. We're so different culturally, socially. One time we were in a brahmachari class and one sannyasi, he said, look around. So we started looking around at everyone. And he said, if it wasn't for Krishna consciousness, would you be friends with any of these people? And we looked around and we're like, probably not. We're so different. Yet here we are, we're together, we're trying to go beyond the body, we're trying to go beyond the differences, and we're trying to connect on a spiritual level. So yes, be kind, be gracious, be magnanimous, be open-minded, and try to be the change. And that way you build a real community where we don't judge each other, a community of non-envy. This is most important. Alright, thank you much everyone. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.